Hey everyone, so today's an exciting day because I want to talk about my favorite board game designer and who I actually really think is the best board game designer out there. Not only because he's designed some of my favorite games, but he really has accumulated under his belt just such a variety of games which all hit in different areas in terms of how complex they are, how they play out, the mechanics they invoke, how they play together. He's designed cooperative, he's designed non-cooperative games, and that board game designer is Vlaada Chvatil. I might have botched his last name and I apologize. The first game that I want to talk about with him that he has designed that I have played is Through the Ages. And Through the Ages, the reason I bring this one up is this is the very first Vlaada game which I got the pleasure of playing. And Through the Ages, this was really an amazing experience. It immediately shot to both John and my top of the list, I would say. We were blown away. It was certainly complex, it had great decision space, it was an exciting historically themed game where we got to feel like we were playing different characters at different ages. We were looking forward to what new technologies would come out. We were just looking forward to just see what we ended up building and how we scored. And just seeing how the engine building mechanic works of this. And this was an amazing game that then tipped us to think, well, we really should start to look at some of these other Vlaada games, which we did. So other ones that we own, I actually have a ton of them. They all sit out on my main shelf here. We've played Dungeon Petz. This one has worn off a little bit on John, I think, but I rather like this game still. I think the taking care of the monsters mechanic is quite interesting, where you have cards that you're trying to use to meet the pets. Monsters, I should be calling them pets, right? They're cute and monstrous. Trying to use different cards to take care of their different needs. Just a really interesting themed game. I think he pulls it together really well. That's something Vlaada does really well too, is pulling together such different themes and putting them into board games. I mean, Dungeon Petz, like, that's, so far to me at least, in my board gaming experience, is pretty unique. So another one that I really like, one that makes my top 10 list, Galaxy Trucker. This one is great. I love the different phases of the game where you spend the first part of the game racing against other players to build the best ship with all the components that you're going to need to survive space, hopefully. And I love that you get information as you go along. You can check out different cards of what your ship will actually have to encounter when it enters phase 2, and how that then impacts your decision. So that he feeds you just enough information for you to feel like, okay, I gotta find this piece and I gotta put this here, and oh man, I picked up this piece already for my ship and I can't put it back. Like, what will I do with it? How will I make this work? Really unique game. I can't say that I've played anything like Galaxy Trucker except Galaxy Trucker. Really interesting, fun rulebook to read. That's actually another great reason to love Vlaada, is he writes really entertaining rulebooks, though some of them can make it a little bit more challenging for you to maybe learn the game up front. I really love his rulebooks. I'll be reading them and learning a game, and John will wonder what I'm laughing at, and I can just share with him lines out of it, and he gets it, and it's quite humorous. So Galaxy Trucker, another really good one. Also in the space line, Vlaada has designed Space Alert, which we also have. This is our most recent Vlaada acquisition. Space Alert is a cooperative game. It works by, how can I say? You listen to a track, a CD that's played, and you effectively learn about what's going to happen to the ship, and you need to pre-program your moves in conjunction with other players to tackle what those threats will be. This game probably was the hardest Vlaada game for us to learn. I think I picked up the others pretty well, even better than one I'll show you in just a second. Space Alert I have played maybe 3 or 4 times. I've played with just John in 2-player mode, where we have extra action or extra people that we manipulate as well, and I've played it 4-player. I definitely would vote for the 4-player just the 4-player playthrough with this one, but 2 players, it works as well. And I think once you got good enough at this game and you wanted actually to make it more complex, playing this 2-player could really be the answer to that. Space Alert. Alright, as I mentioned, there was one that was quite difficult in terms of rules to learn, and that was Mage Knight. But this is my number one favorite game. Again, Vlaada does not just, in my opinion, become the best board game designer simply because he's designed my favorite game, but because he's designed many of my favorite games. And again, I think he has such a diversity in terms of game style, the mechanics that he uses. This one here has a deck building mechanic, unlike his other games that I've shown so far. And again, this one, I love how the theme comes alive in it. The artwork is quite good in this one, I find. It works well for the game. And what more can I say about Mage Knight? You'll have to check out our top 10 to get other thoughts. And lastly, one of the hottest games on the market right now, also designed by Vlaada, and that is Codenames. And there's a number of variants on this one. We have the original Codenames as well as Codenames Duet, which Codenames Duet was a really nice take on Codenames, I found, for John and I when we just did want to play together. But this one has also been very successful, I find, in our various game groups. Everyone seems to catch it. It's nice that you can play as many or as few rounds of it as you want to. It's a really good filler game. It's even a good game when you're trying to introduce new couples to one another, which my husband and I successfully did, and now they're married. Isn't that wonderful? So Codenames, this is a game where you effectively are working as two different teams, and you and your partner, you're trying to communicate with one word a number of different clues that they can pick off cards laid out in front of you. That's a pretty poor explanation, but a great game to check out nonetheless. Codenames, also designed by Vlaada. So those are some games that he's designed, all which I think are great games that you may be interested in checking out, if you take my word for it, obviously. And again, I really think that he's done a great job in the board game design world, and I'm really looking forward to whatever he has coming out next. I haven't heard just yet whispers of anything, but maybe I'll have to do a bit more digging. Anyways, tell me, Vlaada, your favorite, not your favorite, who might there be? Juve, I hear, when I hear Vlaada's name thrown around, Juve is another one that gets thrown around, but I think Vlaada takes the cake for me. But you tell me in the comments. Subscribe, get notifications on for the channel, and we'll see you next time.